Welcome back to Under the Tights, powered by Heroes Comics, right here in Fresno at Shaw and Highway 41. I'm Rash from the Morning Blaze here at 105.1 The Blaze, and today we're talking about this dude, Venom. Back in March, Sony Pictures announced that they're going to make a standalone rated R movie about Venom, which sounds pretty cool to me if it's done right. I mean, they've had some success recently with rated R action flicks, superhero flicks. Deadpool was a huge success. Logan, the final Wolverine movie, which came out last summer, also very, very good. And this is theoretically going to follow in the same vein. There is one glaring issue with this, though, and that is that Spider-Man, who is a key part of the Venom origin story, is so far kind of in limbo when it comes to a Venom movie, which is weird, because I don't know how you can make a movie about a character and then ignore a massive part of who they are. It'd be like trying to make a Batman movie and not telling you that his parents were killed. I mean, it's kind of his motivation for becoming the Batman, right? His parents are killed. He vows to end crime so that no other kid has to go through that kind of suffering. No other person has to go through that kind of suffering. And it's his driving force throughout everything. The one thing that most people know about Batman is that his real name's Bruce Wayne and his parents were killed. That's the origin of that character. Well, for Venom, the thing that is important to know about him is that he was once attached to Peter Parker and was once Spider-Man. The way the story goes is that there's a few different variants of this, but the main one, and the one that I read when I was a kid, was an astronaut crew or an astronaut crew, is that what we would call them? Spacemen are sent to the moon to do some research, and they come back with this alien that attaches itself to Peter Parker's Spider-Man when Peter tries to rescue these aliens on a crash landing when they're coming back to Earth. The alien attaches itself to Spider-Man. If you've seen Spider-Man in the black suit, that was Venom. It's an alien force that kind of coexists. It's a parasite that coexists with Spider-Man. It gives him extra strength. It made him faster, but it also made him more aggressive and more angry. And he didn't like that, so he shuns the alien. He detaches himself from it. The alien then resents him for that rejection. Finds a new host, which happens to be a guy named Eddie Brock in the comic book, who had a problem with Spider-Man for ruining his personal life. So it's the shared hatred of Eddie Brock and the alien, the shared hatred of Spider-Man, which creates the Venom character, which originally is a villain for Spider-Man. Now try to do a movie or a story about that character with that origin and take out the Spider-Man part and tell me what you've got. I'll wait, because you don't have much. The problem with this, if you're asking yourself, why can't they just put Spider-Man in this movie? Well, it's the same reason why it took so long to get Spider-Man in the Captain America movie or the Avengers, the Infinity War, which is coming out. And it is the problem that most of us run into in life: money. See, Spider-Man and Venom are properties of Sony Pictures. Marvel Studios is owned by a different company. You may have heard of them. They're called Disney. They have their hands on a lot of the entertainment world and go head-to-head against Sony Pictures in a lot of different avenues. And therefore, in order to wrestle Spider-Man away, they had to come up with a whole new company, which was kind of a merger agreement between those two for the purpose of this one character. Outside of the Spider-Man character, there's still some questions as to how that universe is shaped and formed. Now Spider-Man is under a different umbrella so that Marvel Studios can use him. Sony might not necessarily be able to write him into a Venom standalone movie. They're saying right now that they don't need him, that Spider-Man's not going to be a part of this Venom movie, which is going to be rated R and come out starring Tom Hardy in 2018. I don't know how you do that. There's a lot of forums out there right now, if you want to waste some time. They have a lot of different fanboys giving you all kinds of different explanations. But I'll just tell you from my perspective, you can't. You just can't make a movie. Look at him. Just look at him. He looks like Spider-Man for a reason. You can't do this without that. It's not a possible thing to do. So the movie, like I said, is in development right now, and the studios are trying to say that although it might exist in the Spider-Man universe, Spider-Man himself is not going to be in it, and I don't see how you can do an origin story without the character's origin. And to me, Venom is not well known enough to launch into a standalone movie and just assume people understand that he looks like that and acts like that and behaves that way because he was once attached to Spider-Man. I think characters like Superman, characters like Batman, even though I used that example earlier, you could do a standalone movie about guys like that without doing an origin, because I think most people who are going to see that movie go into it understanding a little bit about that character. Venom's not that. So although I like the idea of a standalone Venom rated R flick, I think it could be great. you got to have Spider-Man in it. So I will keep you posted. I'll keep looking at this. It's very, very interesting to me to find out if the two studios who have conflicting financial interests are going to be able to work out a deal similar to the one they did that allowed Spider-Man to be into Marvel Studios pictures that might allow him to be in this Venom movie as well. I'm not saying he needs to be the focus of it. I'm not even saying that it needs to be a movie about Spider-Man and Venom fighting each other. I think from what I'm reading, Carnage, who is a whole other thing, is supposed to be the main villain in this Venom movie, which I think would be fantastic. But in order to really carry who this character is, the origin of how he comes to be has to involve Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And if you don't do that, or you try to do it through inference, I think you're going to fail. I think you're going to fail miserably. But we'll see. We still got some time to see how this all plays out. Hey, make sure you check out the new comic books available at Heroes Comics at Shaw and Highway 41 today. Got a new Batman book out there, Batman number 25, Catwoman, Batman, finally, you know, smashing, maybe. I don't know. Also, speaking of Spider-Man, there is a new Peter Parker series which debuts today as well. Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man #1 as they relaunch Peter Parker before the Homecoming flick this summer. For this and so much more, go talk to my boy Dave out there at Heroes Comics. It's been Under the Tights, Volume 8. Thanks for being with us. Be back next week.